Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Andrew Geoghegan. Before we start, let's check in with Chaz and John for what's coming up on Planet America.
Coming up, another very busy week on Planet America. What have we got on the show tonight, Chaz?
We're going to talk about immigration, John. We're going to talk about the push to reopen America. And we're going to talk to a scientist who studies bats. That's right, we're talking to Batman.
No, we're not. We're talking to somebody that knows maybe where the coronavirus came from.
Yes.
Or Batman. One of the two. You'll find out in 15 minutes from now. Stay with us.
Now to our top stories. Aged care homes have been given an ultimatum to relax strict rules against family visitors or be forced to. Several homes have locked down their residents for more than 3 weeks, prompting complaints from relatives. The Prime Minister says it's time those facilities open up when it's safe to do so. If they don't, they can be ordered to and punished with fines.
Having people stuck in their rooms, not being able to be visited by their loved ones and carers and other support people, that's not okay. But we are not going to have these as secret places where people can't access them. They must.
All visits to aged care homes will be covered by medical safety guidelines backed by the Health Department. Health authorities are investigating a coronavirus outbreak at a Melbourne psychiatric facility after 14 people tested positive. The Albert Road Clinic in South Melbourne is the source of a cluster that's left 3 patients in hospital, including 1 in intensive care. The inpatient facility has been placed into lockdown and dozens of patients, staff and visitors are in isolation to prevent the outbreak from spreading further. The first case was recorded at the end of last month and 30 patients remain at the facility.
But the patients are all currently being isolated. They're all in their rooms and staff are managing them all under the right infection prevention and control precautions. And we're treating everybody as a suspect case just to make sure that...
I don't think you could do more significant measures than we've taken at the moment. So to effectively shut down that facility, to be testing everyone and then to monitor everyone who's been a close contact.
Victoria recorded 6 new cases of the virus overnight, which includes 3 people from the Albert Road Clinic. Concerns are being raised over the government's virus tracing app after US tech giant Amazon was awarded with the contract to store users' data. Industry insiders say Australian alternatives were available and fear the method of storage and encryption could pose a security risk. Dylan Welch from ABC Investigations reports.
As he tries to bring Australia back from its isolation, the Prime Minister had to reassure the public about a key plank of his exit strategy.
It's a nationally encrypted data store. It is illegal, it will be illegal for information to go out of that data store to any other person other than that for whom the whole thing is designed.
ABC News revealed today that global tech giant Amazon was awarded the data storage contract for the tracing app in a secretive tender process which critics say prevented local companies bidding for the service.
As I understand it, the overwhelming voice of experts in the digital space is that the data should remain in Australia and that there are Australian tech companies capable of providing that service domestically in Australia.
The app was announced by the Prime Minister this month as a means to speed up contact tracing around Australia.
The server's in Australia and it's using AWS, who work with Australia on many sensitive issues in terms of Australia's data management.
Concerns have also been raised about a decision to store the encryption keys for the tracing app with the data itself, a practice frowned upon in the industry.
You can lock a shed with a padlock, but if you keep the key in the padlock, the shed isn't really locked. Keeping the keys with the data is a similar analogy or a similar situation.
The government says their key management plan is standard practice and was cleared by the Australian Signals Directorate. A spokesperson for Amazon told ABC News that their customers retained ownership and control of data stored with Amazon's cloud services.
Download it yourself?
Sorry, of course I am. Absolutely I am. Are you?
Why not?
Great. Good on you, Michelle.
Now the Prime Minister just needs another 4 million Australians to do the same. Dylan Welch, ABC News.
A company behind an Australian-made ventilator says its product could change the game for COVID-19 patients in developing nations. It's an example of what can be achieved when universities, government and the private sector collaborate. Stephanie Zillman reports.
Designed and manufactured in Queensland over the past month, the Ozvader is a paired-back ventilator that can be rapidly manufactured for a tenth of the price of more sophisticated models.
That we could turn around a concept into potentially a product within a month is almost unheard of.
The product doesn't yet have approval by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, but has the backing of QUT's Medical Research Lab and intensive care specialists at Prince Charles Hospital. While it's hoped the ventilator could be a cheaper option for developing nations needing more ICU equipment, it's the collaboration between the government, medical, university and private manufacturing sectors that's exciting to researchers.
I so hope this is the new normal.
The Queensland Minister for Manufacturing believes the project is proof more can be done to close holes in the medical supply chain, including personal protective equipment.
Queensland and Australia is exposed because of long supply chains that run to other parts of the world. And those supply chains, the links in those supply chains can be broken.
Made of all locally sourced parts, the company behind the product says it could be ready for deployment in 4 weeks.
We didn't want to get in the way of the supply chain of the already stressed medical industry. So we decided to go down the route of the industrial, or sourcing industrial components.
Clinicians say, putting aside any buzz about a locally manufactured product, the crucial test for any new ventilator is that the pressure doesn't damage the lungs in the process.
Ventilator is significant life support. It comes with its benefits, it comes with its risks.
ICU specialist Dr Kiran Shekhar has lent his expertise to the project in the hope the ventilator could be used abroad.
Looking beyond the pandemic, I think initiatives like this can actually make ICU care accessible to a large number of patients who currently don't have access to ICU.
Since the COVID-19 crisis started, the Commonwealth Government has almost doubled the number of ventilators available in Australia. Stephanie Zillman, ABC News.
A Melbourne court has heard distressing allegations of what happened in the moments after Wednesday's horrific crash that killed 4 police officers. The driver of the Porsche, which was stopped before the crash, is facing 9 charges, including failing to assist at the scene of an accident. Police told the court the body camera of one of the victims would show the accused man verbally abusing her while she was pinned under a truck. Karen Percy reports.
The court was told Richard Paul Pusey was affected by methamphetamines and cannabis when he was pulled over for allegedly driving his Porsche at 149 kilometres an hour. It set the scene for a catastrophic crash when a truck veered across the highway, killing 4 officers. Leading Senior Constable Lynette Taylor, Senior Constable Kevin King, Constable Glenn Humphris and Constable Josh Presney. At the time the truck hit, the court heard Mr Pusey was away from the group, urinating on the grass by the freeway. The case will rely on footage from Officer Lynette Taylor's body camera, which recorded Mr Pusey. "All I wanted to do was go home and eat my sushi and you've f***ing my car," Mr Pusey is alleged to have said after the crash.
Based on the alleged reports that I have heard today, it's completely sickening and disgusting.
The court heard Mr Pusey also recorded video on his mobile phone of Officer Taylor as she lay pinned under the truck. When he handed himself into police yesterday, they allege he gave them the wrong mobile phone, a device that had been wiped of evidence after the factory settings were restored.
Well, I think this week 4 police heroes died and 1 coward lived.
The driver of the truck, Mohinder Singh Bajwa, remains in hospital and has yet to be questioned. Police have been overwhelmed by an outpouring of public support.
To know that the community have got our back, as well as us having the community's back, is so, we feel so supported for that, so thank you.
The partner of Constable Glenn Humphris spoke about his loss today.
Only way we're going to remember Glenn and the other 3 is to talk about all the good times.
The 4 officers will be honoured by a public memorial once COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. Karen Percy, ABC News, Melbourne.
A New South Wales man suspected of fighting with a terrorist organisation in Syria has been arrested in Sydney's southwest. Police allege the 44-year-old travelled from Sydney to Syria in 2012 and 2013 to help terror group Jabhat al-Nusra. The man was arrested in Mount Lewis this morning and is expected to be charged with 2 terror offences.
Jabhat al-Nusra is a proscribed terrorist organisation, and if you do some research you'll find that Jabhat al-Nusra was the precursor to ISIS.
Police were able to make the arrest after evidence was uncovered during separate investigations. Perth Airport is using heavy machinery and company vehicles to seize a number of Virgin Australia aircraft over significant unpaid debts. In a statement, the airport says while it is working with the airline to get through the coronavirus crisis, it has to protect its own interests. The airport has taken the planes as security on the debt, and images show a bulldozer and airport car blocking them on the tarmac. Perth Airport says this is standard practice and no flights have been impacted. It is Australia's most solemn day, and coronavirus has forced a major rethink on the way we mark Anzac Day. Tomorrow, there will be no marches, public services or parades. But Australians have quickly invented new rituals and ways to honour diggers, past and present.
For more than 100 years, Anzac Day has been defined by public gatherings and a shared spirit.
The march begins. 43,000 men, an Anzac army 7 miles long.
But thanks to an unseen enemy, those who've always marched together will tomorrow have to stand alone.
This is not normal to what we normally do. You know, we're not going to be shoulder to shoulder.
Iraq War veteran Bill Wetburn has taken matters into his own hands, rallying the troops for a driveway dawn service.
I put out a call to arms, if you like, I put a letter drop in each of the letter boxes in our little court.
Bill's neighbour Jess is a soldier, and with her retired military working dog, she'll be up before the sun.
We all have to adapt, I guess, during this time, and as long as we still stop and remember, I think that's the most important thing.
In the face of COVID-19, this Townsville florist went DIY, selling kits so people can make their own wreaths at home.
We've got a beautiful silk poppy there.
And they've been flying out the door.
So I've had to order twice and I'm actually getting some more expressed up.
The Australian War Memorial, the Defence Department and the ABC are asking people to share images on social media to help record an unusual moment in history. From here in Australia's biggest garrison city of Townsville, troops embarked to World War I. They trained for Vietnam and for Afghanistan. But tomorrow, for the first time in living memory, these streets will be empty on Anzac Day. Soldiers have phoned more than 200 war widows in the region, women who might feel lonely without the usual Anzac Day gatherings.
Hello. They just kind of said thank you. Thank you for checking in with us.
They're also checking in on veterans. And it might make up for missing out on beers at the RSL, but it reminds those who serve that while they're isolated, they're not alone. Siobhan Henu, ABC News, Townsville.
And while you won't be able to go along in person to Anzac Day services, there will be live coverage on ABC TV, radio and online. Join us from 5:30 a.m. Eastern for the National Memorial Service live from Canberra, and from 10 a.m. we'll bring you the Sydney Memorial Service. The National Rugby League says it will restart on May the 28th after reaching a deal with its 2 broadcast partners. A deal between the NRL, Nine and Foxtel is seen as crucial before the NRL moves ahead with the rest of its plans to restart the competition. The chairman of the Rugby League Commission, Peter V'landys, says the structure of the competition will be announced after consultation with the players.
The meeting went into very good spirit. Both broadcasters were very cooperative. They appreciate the position that we're in, and hopefully early next week we'll make an announcement on the entire competition structure. Naturally, we have to consult our players plus our clubs.
V'landys says the competition could be pushed further back if there's an upswing in coronavirus cases. State of Origin will go ahead, but it will be played after the grand final. Let's check the weather in our capitals for Anzac Day. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in Brisbane, a sunny day for Sydney and Canberra, partly cloudy in Melbourne, rain developing in Adelaide, cloudy for Hobart, a shower or 2 in Perth, and for Darwin, a sunny day. And that is ABC News for now. Thanks for your company. I'm Andrew Geoghegan. Stay with us Planet America is next.